Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Hoop Hogs Video Mailbag. Curtis Wilkerson here with Inside Arkansas on the Pod at the Palace. Coming back to you once again with our daily Arkansas basketball Q&A. We're in the middle of our player profile preview series, breaking down the top 9 guys in the rotation and what we expect from them this season, some strengths, some weaknesses, what they've done, what you think they're going to do. You name it. We're trying to cover it from all angles. We have done Jonell Davis. We've gone through Boogie Flan. We talked about Adu Thiero. We're kind of working our way down the numbers on the roster. And today we got TB4. Trevon Brazile switched his number from number 2 to number 4. And honestly, we probably won't have to go quite as in-depth on this one because Trevon's the one guy on the roster that I think all Razorbacks fans should know plenty about, right? I mean, we know Trevon's strengths. Floor spacing to 3. He's a lob threat and above the rim guy, gifted athlete. I think we all know Trevon's weaknesses, strength and physicality, maybe limited in some ways off the bounce. We know that Trevon needs to be healthy, which he was not for stretches last year, but he is now 2 years removed from that ACL tear. So hopefully we see some progress there. We know that Eric Musselman did not use him well or appropriately for large stretches of the season last year. Trevon he's not a wing. He's not a guard. He's not a center. He is a modern day stretch 4 who needs to be a rim runner or a trailer in transition. And he either needs to be in ball screens or the dunker spot in half court. The end. There's no middle ground there. And we didn't see enough of that last year. And he had his struggles, certainly. And there's, blame to be shared on his end for the way some of things went down last year. But he was not, I don't think, put in a position to kind of exemplify his strengths to his game. So, and when he is, I mean, you see the flashes of the incredibly high potential that he has, and it's still there. There's no doubt about it. I thought that Trevon looked probably as healthy and effective as we saw him all year at the end of the year last season. I'm talking like the last few games against Bama on the road, Vandy and South Carolina in the SEC tournament. In those 3 games, he averaged about 11 points, 6.5 boards, a couple blocks. He shot 40% from 3. Pretty solid, and he would look more confident. It looked more like the Trevon Brazile maybe we saw the year prior before his injury, which was good. So let's take a look at this short clip from last season. It's highlights, so a lot of good stuff, but there's still a few things there that I'd like to point out as we kind of go through it. Let me pull it up here. All right. Well, there you go. Right there. A little high-low action with Makai. That's what you want to see from Trevon, right? He's such an athlete. I mean, we all think back to the South Dakota State dunk where he posterized the kid, and there have been many examples of that. And it's not that he has to dunk on somebody every time, but that's the kind of aggression and mean streak and just assertiveness that you want to see more out of from Trevon, as opposed to being passive and hanging out on the wing. This is against Vandy in the SEC tournament. That's exactly what I want to see more of out of TB. Okay, so right there you see Trevon can put it on the floor. He can. It's kind of a weird little, jab and go. It's not the smoothest thing in the world, but he covers some ground off the bounce. He's comfortable handling it. But how many times did we see the jab one way, 2 dribbles middle, and then you just kind of pick up your dribble and you don't know where you're going with it? We saw that a lot with him, and sometimes because he'd get bumped a little bit off his spot. Sometimes it was because he didn't have the secondary move, whether it was a crossover or a spin, whatever, to create space or get to the rim. Now he's going to pull up and knock down a jumper here, which is good. And I like that he's got that in his game. But for a guy like Brazile, he's a potential 40% 3-point shooter, but then also a guy who can really finish above the rim. So I'm not Nate Oates, who only subscribes to the 3 or rim philosophy, but in Trevon's case, I think I would probably prefer that. So when we talk about some of the things he's working on in terms of attacking, being more aggressive, getting all the way to the rim is something I'd like to see. I mean, nice pull up there that he knocks down. Good defense here, especially if it's a mouse in the house situation. That's something he's going to be able to swat at all times. He's really good stepping over when a guard drives, kind of as a weak side rim protector. And so, yeah, the more of that you see, the better. Right there. And that's a real subtle thing, but just seeing Trevon hanging out around the rim a little bit more, you're going to get that. You're going to get the easy ones, the bunnies, the putback dunks. If you think about, he was playing really well early in the year, before and during, where the heck did they go? The Bahamas for Atlantis. And a lot of what he was doing was just gobbling up offensive rebounds, and getting some stickbacks and things like that. He's so athletic. And honestly, if he's playing the stretch four spot, he's going to be in a situation to where he's going to have the length and athleticism advantage, and getting on the offensive glass for those easy ones. The more of those, the better. Those are the bunnies. Those are the confidence builders. You want to see something like that go down before you're taking mid-range jumpers. And he that fell off a little bit as the year progressed. I think it was because that knee was bothering him, because we started to see it more a little bit down the stretch of the season once he returned after sitting out for a little bit. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, there's the three-pointer. You love that. As a catch and shoot, sign me up for that. Another guard, mouse in the house. We talked about it. Yeah, running the floor in transition, getting to the rim. Beautiful. Look at that. Pick and roll, and good things happen. Oh, my gosh. Can you believe that? You put Trevon Brazile in a ball screen. Oh, here's another one. Oh, he doesn't always have to roll. He can pop. Little jab. 2 dribbles again, and then that pull-up, though. Yeah, so that's good, because you're going to get the matchup that you want in those situations. I would like him to pick and pop and knock down a 3, or, again, get all the way to the rim. He pulls up there after 2 dribbles. That's he makes that shot, but it's a low percentage shot. It's not a great shot. You like him being around the rim where he's a foot and a half over it, a little bit better than that. But you get the point about the ball screens. My goodness, just put him in ball screens. I was yelling all season that Arkansas wasn't doing that. And he was just hanging out in the corner, hanging out on the wing. And it's just not his strength. Another catch and shoot 3 from the corner. Looks good. He was really shooting it well late in the season. Yeah. Hanging out. That's, again, another weak side block there. So that's good. You like that. Obviously some positives there late in the season from TB. And listen, it's different for him now, right? The situation that Trevon is in right now is best case scenario for him, in my opinion. Fresh start, clean slate, brand new set of teammates, new coaches, but the familiarity of Fayetteville, still close to home, all those things. That's good. I love that John Calipari is challenging Trevon Brazile to be an attack dog, because I agree. He needs to be more physically and mentally tough, especially through adversity, right? I mean, I love that Kenny Payne is getting his hands on Trevon in terms of development as a big man. I love seeing that Trevon has very clearly added some muscle to his frame. Those shoulders, there's more bulk to him, and he needed that. That's part of the equation here. First of all, let me say this. Cal is still going to let Trevon shoot threes, okay? But the point with those comments that he made over the summer was for Trevon not to settle and to get more aggressive doing other things rather than just floating around the perimeter. Grow the game a little bit off the bounce. We've shown some examples of that. Be assertive around the rim. Play with a little bit more of that risk-reward mentality. I'd like to see him take a few more chances. Like this clip here from practice over the course of the summer where he turned some defense into offense. This is something that Trevon can do. And I think it would be a good thing for him to do more of, depending on the matchup. It's a good one here with Big Z, and we'll show it. But he's never going to be a guy who's going to be able to sit down on the perimeter and defend a guard and keep him in front. He can do a better job of using his length and athleticism to maybe arc to help or disrupt some things, but he can also get into the passing lanes and create a little bit of havoc. He does that here, and it turns into a dunk on the other end. So he's guarding Big Z here, and Big Z's going to come up for the pass over. And I like this from Trevon because he's got a pretty good idea of an awareness of who he's defending. You're not super worried about Big Z getting quick on you and hitting you with a back door and going back to the rim for a lob. So he anticipates the pass, jumps the lane. Here it comes. Give me that. And then he's off to the races. Other end, dunk. Easy money. That's good. That's good. More of that from TB. Sign me up. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I got one more clip. This last one, obviously, this is just a practice drill, but it's one that I like because you're going to see Trevon here use his body, take a little bit of contact, but he takes a middle dribble. He's seeing the floor. He hits a cutter, and then he repositions for the lob and gets that two-man game going as opposed to just kind of standing still and not being in position or floating out to the corner or whatever. No, he's aggressive. He's getting to the cup. I like this here with him, and I believe it's DJ. Yep, there you go. Throw it up to the big man. Let him go up there and get it. Very nice. I like it. Okay. Let's see. Torvik, we've been doing those projections and seeing what they've got them listed at. They've got Trevon having a pretty good year, 9.7 points, 6.4 rebounds per game from Torvik there. So that's up in both categories from last season. Not anything crazy, but about a point up and a rebound up. So pretty good there. And listen, I think he's a really nice tandem at the 4 with the Dude the Arrow. I think that their games are so different that you've kind of got the best of both worlds between the two of them if you're doing a platoon there. And I also think that he would fit well with Big Z or Jonas Adu. With Jonas Adu in particular, because he's more of an around the rim, traditional center type. And by Trevon being able to space the floor, it's going to give Adu room to operate around the bucket, and the paint is not going to be clogged. The spacing will be there. And I like it with Z too, because you can do so much because they can both space the floor. They can both pass it. The floor will be really, really open offensively if Arkansas is playing Trevon and Big Z together. And like I said earlier, the only thing I'll be anxious to see on that front, if he's really, hunkered down as a stretch 4, and he's probably going to have to play some 5 at times because they don't have depth there between Adu and Z. After that, it's Trevon. Like, he's your next line of defense. So you'll see some of that, hopefully not too much though. But what we'll need to see with, kind of 2 forwards on the floor together is what kind of progress Trevon's made as a defender when he gets drug out on the perimeter a little bit. Not going to be a guy who's just going to sit down and lock you up, like I said. And he was kind of a turnstile out there last season, but I think some of that was he didn't trust that knee. You could tell, depending on the direction he was getting driven on. Doesn't always have to keep his man in front. But like I said, arc him in to help a little bit. Use that length to your advantage. Those are the things that he can do, and he's going to have some good defense behind him. But I have high expectations for Trevon Brazile, probably higher than some. He's the most polarizing figure in the comments on these YouTube videos, because some people love him and are excited to see him back, and some people are really disappointed with how his season played out last year. And I understand both sides of that, but he's going to be a big piece of what Arkansas is, doing this season. And he's kind of like, well, really any of these other guys. If you're going to go with a short rotation and you don't have depth that you can really trust beyond that top 8-9 guys, you can't miss on an evaluation. You got to nail it. And they chose Trevon Brazile, and they had some other options there that they probably could have ultimately landed at the 4 out of the transfer portal, but they went with TB, and we'll see if it pays off. But Cal already said, hey, he's better than I thought he was. And so far, he's doing the things he needs to do to kind of, reestablish that draft stock and just reestablish himself as a player. He was first team All-SEC preseason last year. That's how highly the league coaches think about him. I don't think he's going to be first team this year, but he's got a chance to kind of reestablish himself and earn some of that respect back after what was a disappointing season for him last year. So I'm going to get out of here. I said that we wouldn't go as long probably on Trevon as the other guys, and this is actually the longest one that we've done so far. That sounds about right. But I'm going to get out of here, and we'll be back tomorrow with the next little rendition of our player preview series. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. As always, make sure you get subscribed to the YouTube channel so you can follow along with these inside Arkansas. And I'm out of here. Curtis Wilkerson, Pot at the Palace. Catch you guys in the morning. Everybody have a good one.